So we need to factorize the second denominator. So that would be plus 10 divided by, now if you factorize it, you get a minus 4, okay, times a plus 2. That would be plus 1 equal to 0. So the question is, what's the LCD?
A minus 4, A plus 10.
Thank you. So the LCD is equivalent to this denominator. Because that's the case, it means when I move to the next step, I just have to multiply this a plus 2 by a minus 4, then I must do the same to the numerator. So if I do that, I'll get 5 times a minus 4, okay? Then this denominator is the same as the LCD. Remember the LCD here, it will be a minus 4 times a plus 2. That's the LCD. Okay? So I'll get plus 10 plus the LCD, which is a minus 4 times a plus 2. The reason why I have to write the LCD in full there is because the denominator of that 1 there is a 1. So if we want to make it equivalent to the LCD, we have to multiply it by the LCD. Alright? Can you say this note mount moving? Okay? This will be equal to 0. Okay? Now it becomes easy. So this will be 5a minus 20 plus 10. And that one there it will be a squared minus 2a minus 8 equal to 0. Then we form our quadratic equation in standard form. Okay? But I need to just add the restrictions. Our restrictions here will be a can never be negative 2, and also a can never be equal to positive 4. Okay, those restrictions are important because if you get them as your final answers, it is possible that the equation might not have a solution or one of them may not be a solution. So it depends on the question. Okay, so let's carry on. So here we'll get a squared, 5a minus 2a will get positive 3a. Then I'll get minus 10 plus minus 8, I'll get minus 18 equal to 0. Now I'm smiling. Right? Please allow me to use the quadratic formula to carry on from there. But it can be factorized. Okay? But I'm not going to use factorization, I'm going to use the quadratic what? Formula. Right? So
if you use
it's too fine. It's just that going forward, please be aware that going forward, if you are solving a quadratic equation with a solvable trinomial in terms of factorization, you can use factorization to solve that quadratic equation, or you can use the quadratic formula. So you now have more than one way of doing it. You can decide which way you prefer. But be aware that the quadratic formula is the best because you can solve any quadratic equation. So here, our variable is not x, it's a. So when I write my quadratic formula, I can't say x equal to, because the equation doesn't have x. Okay? X equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. It's a general equation. Right? So this would be equal to a is equal to minus b plus or minus, right? Square root of b squared minus 4ac. Please be aware that this a here, the meaning of this a and the meaning of that a are different. Okay? Are you following what I'm saying?
yes.
This a here is for the variable in our given equation. This a here, this one, it is the coefficient of the first term. Okay? So this will be all over 2 times a. So our b is 3, so that will be minus 3 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So that's 3 squared times 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 18. This is all over 2 times 1. Okay, so you get minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 18 times 4, that will give us 72. Okay, so that will be 2. So A will be equal to negative 3 plus or minus 9 over 2. Okay, please be aware that 9 plus 7 plus 72, that's 81. 81 is a perfect square, yes. Yes, yes.
Wouldn't we like when you see it
When you are solving, okay, when you are solving by using the quadratic formula, you don't have to worry about the value of the coefficient of the first term. You just plug it in. Whatever coefficient is there, can you listen? Whatever coefficient of the first term, you substitute where there is a there. Even if it's 100, you just put 100 and then simplify. Yes?
okay, so we are only able to use an A when it's like, let's say 2, when it's like in like this standard form, not when it's like all marked up, because then we'll think we have to do it like
You see,
the other way.
okay, wait. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, but I presume that first thing, you need to make sure that your quadratic equation is in standard form before you use the quadratic formula. It has to be in what? In standard form. And the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Once it's in standard form like that, then you can use the what? The quadratic formula. Is that clear to everybody? Yeah, please be aware, okay, just to let you know, quadratic equations are extremely important. Okay? Up to metric and beyond. If you start something which requires maths after metric, you are going to encounter quadratic equations. Your physical science, some of you are doing physical science, right? You see quadratic equations there. Yes. That's why you do maths. You can't do maths whilst you're doing physical. You can't do maths whilst you're doing physical science, because you need the maths to understand things in what? Physical science. That's why you have to do the two. Maths and physical science, the strongest combination ever. Huh? Can you speak up, please? Don't be scared. I'm a very nice teacher. Speak up. It should be the other way around. It should be the other way around. If you're strong in maths, you should find physical science a little bit easy. Yes. Okay? Because physical science applies maths. Physical science applies maths. Alright, can we have one lesson? Can we have one lesson? Yes? Yeah, you can. That's why I was at pains to try and explain that this A here and that A, they are different. Okay, but in the end, what are you trying to calculate? And what is that unknown? A. So in the end, you must have A, not another letter. Alright, so let's get on. So you've got A.
But if you said that A equal X,
Maybe in that case we can give you a benefit of the doubt. So this will be minus 3 minus 9. You get minus 6, so this will give us minus 6. Right? Then minus 3 plus 9 you get 6 over 2. So x will be positive 3. So it's not x and a. So a is going to be positive 3. Alright? Now the good thing is These two answers, none of them, okay, can I have your attention? None of them are part of our restriction, which means both solutions are valid. Okay, our restrictions are here. None of them are equal to -6 or what? A positive 3. Are you following? Right, so quadratic equations are very important. That's why you have to spend several weeks doing questions on quadratic equations, because they come in other topics. You also need quadratic equations in physical science as well. Okay? Usually this year in grade 11 and next year as well. Right? You did equations of motion, isn't it? Grade 10. Right? The equation of motion which you did, okay, I'm not sure which you were using what? Okay, acceleration. Okay, in my time you write it as S equal to half delta T. Okay, it was U delta T. Alright, wait. Okay, I can remember it. So S equal to U delta T plus half A delta T squared. Alright, you did this in grade what? 10. In grade, no, not 9. Right? Okay, wait. This is a quadratic equation. Yes, this is a quadratic equation. Look, okay, look here. Why is it quadratic? Because we have got that delta T squared. This is a quadratic equation. If, okay, depending, okay, listen. Depending on what you would want to calculate, let's say the displacement is 0 and then you have got your delta T, you're going to calculate the initial velocity and all that. You can do that. It's a quadratic. That's why the graph of this is parabolic. It's math. The problem, okay, just to give you a hint, if you do physical science without thinking about math, it won't make sense to you. It won't make sense. But if you connect your maths and physical sciences, it will, especially the physics component, it will make more sense. Right? Remember, the pioneers of physics were mathematicians. Yeah. Yes, you can't do physical science without knowing maths. There's no way. No. Not every maths teacher can teach physical science, but physical sciences can teach what? Maths. Alright, let me carry on. Alright, the new aspect, can I have your attention? So we have got a new aspect now. Equations involving substitution. Equations involving substitution. Equations involving